Did you see that shit? MMA podcast. Hosted by mixed martial arts journalist Mike Strauss, aka Strauss.21, and Chicago's number one underground comedian, Apollo Taj Mahal.
Mike.
What's up, bro?
Holy head kick, Batman.
Yeah, Marlon Moraes.
I shed a tear. I poured some out for my homies, but then I remembered that my homie Jimmy Rivera is the toughest man in the world, and he's going to be back.
Yeah, he'll be back. He recovered very quickly, but Moraes, man, respect. He jumped on him real quick.
I loved Robin Black's 1 minute breakdown of that kick. Put one up real quick. It was 45 seconds, wasn't 1 minute. Moraes is one hell of a striker. I knew he was, but
super quick.
It's looking like, Barbosa levels of holy hellness.
He might have the quickest twitch reflex that I've seen in a long time. He's very quick, man. He's a talented dude. All those dudes at 135 at the very top.
It's such a dangerous division.
They're so talented, man. We have a jam-packed show, so let's get to it, guys. Of course, we were talking about the headliner from this last weekend's UFC Utica. So much to get to on this episode, though. PFL 1 has their inaugural card with Lance Palmer and Andre Harrison, who interviews both on this show. And also, of course, 225 is this week. So let's get to it, man. We have, in total, 5 interviews. As I mentioned, we'll have Andre Harrison, Lance Palmer, Dulani Perry, the fight god.
Oh, yeah.
Anthony Smith, and, of course, the one and only, the legendary, the veteran voice of the octagon, Bruce Buffer. So let's get to it, man. If you don't know who we are, shame on you. We're the guys from the Did You See That Shit Mixed Martial Arts podcast. I am Mike Strauss, a.k.a. Strauss21. That is Chicago's #1 underground comedian, Apollo Taj Mahal.
So underground, you don't even know who I am. And we are the fastest growing podcast out there.
So underground, he is above ground.
Oh, yeah.
Figure that out.
Yeah, exactly. And you can listen to us on all your podcasting needs. Probably what you're listening to us right now. Either YouTube, iTunes, Google Play, Stitcher, all the fun stuff. Hit like, subscribe, do all the good stuff. Thumbs up, rate us if you can. Because guess what? You better join the team now, like Chris Weidman said.
All those things help, guys, and be sure to go to the YouTube channel, The Missing Time Productions. All of our content is there as well. If you want to get more personal, give us a call, 708-669-4777, or shoot us an email, mike@didyousee.shit.com. Well, before we get to it, give a quick shout-out to Fight Fit Lifestyle. They are not just a mixed martial arts clothing company. They are much more. Whether you are a man, woman, child, they have anything you need from apparel, clothes, shorts, sporting gear. Check them out, Fight Fit Lifestyle, and it's run by a fighter himself, Mr. Stephen Ocho Peterson. So all the proceeds go to a good cause, and hell, they have awesome gear. So check them out, fightfitlifestyle.com. All right, UFC Utica was this last weekend. You mentioned at the top of the show, man, holy head kick, Marlon Moraes. Only needed about 20-some seconds or 30 seconds to really take care of Jimmy El Terra Rivera.
That was Jimmy got caught.
Mm-hmm.
And
that's exactly it. He got caught.
It happened.
If that fight happens again 10 times, there's no way he gets caught by that same kick.
Not that same kick, and not that same.
He might lose, but not by that kick.
Now, I'm interested to see
where Moraes goes from here.
Yeah,
well, I think what's going to happen is Dillashaw and Garbrandt are going to settle the score, and assuming they don't have an immediate rematch again, I think that Moraes is the next guy now. He really solidified himself.
Yeah, and you know what? This is the second crazy knockout he's had in a row.
Mm-hmm. So now that makes me think, the first one that you're alluding to was against Aljamain Sterling,
where
he kind of caught him with a knee.
Made him do the
way
dab.
Up. Yeah, he made him do the dab on the way down.
Can you teach me how to dab?
And most people thought that was kind of just luck or a fluke.
That's technique. What I thought.
But now it makes you wonder, this is the second time in a row it's happened. Is it luck? I don't know. It almost makes you think like it's technique now.
It's starting to have this weird Conor McGregor effect where these weird things keep happening.
Don't know if I go that far.
Well, I'm just saying, after the Aldo fight, I thought it was definitely luck, and then he did the same thing to another person, and I was just like, okay, maybe there's something to this.
Speaking of doing things to other people, how about the co-main event, man? Gregor Gillespie. This guy just keeps improving. He is a world-class wrestler. He only needed 2 rounds to defeat a very tough Vince Pichel. He got him with the arm triangle, one of Gillespie's favorite moves, and then one of my favorite moments of the entire night was Gillespie took to the mic post-fight. And, he's a big fishing guy and stuff like that. That's cool. But he gave a shout-out to one of his main trading partners, Mr. Andre Harrison, PFL main eventer. And we will also have Harrison's interview on this podcast, and he has been a big friend of the show. And let me tell you, if you don't know who Andre Harrison is, tune in Thursday night on NBC Sportsnet, and you will find out this dude is one of the best featherweights in the world. He's undefeated, and I just think it's really cool that Gillespie took time out of his post-fight speech to shout out to Andre. I thought that was really cool.
You know who Andre reminds me of? Eddie Alvarez back in the day, where I was
Like
like
a black Eddie Alvarez?
Yeah, just like one of the best in the world. I know he is.
Right, okay. I
But
see what you're saying.
he's just not in the mainstream yet.
Back when Eddie was fighting everywhere except for the UFC?
Yeah, so that's kind of how it
Like
feels.
real hardcore people knew who he was, but no mainstreamers really
yeah.
didn't know. Yeah, no, I feel you.
That's
I feel you
kind of how it feels to me with Andre Harrison.
I see that.
Because when you watch that guy fight, man, he's
got everything. He's complete.
You can't deny he's not one of the best 145 pounders in the world.
No, and PFL's got something special, man, with both him and Lance Palmer. That's gonna be. There's a lot of other guys in there too. We'll get to that in a little bit, though. Gregor Gillespie, he looked phenomenal.
That dude's wrestling is just out of this world.
Harris KO Spitz in round 2. Now, we differed on this. I thought Harris would get the job done. You thought Spitz was on the rise.
And I had no facts. I just had a feeling.
Well, I really didn't either. This could have went either way. It just so happened that Harris got the KO in this one, but, it was pretty lackluster all in all. But I'll tell you what, the veterans delivered. Ben Saunders caught Jake Ellenberger with a knee to the liver.
Oh, my God.
The liver quiver in round 1. It was amazing. And let me tell you, there's not many guys that are more passionate about what he does than Ben Saunders. It was so cool watching him take to the mic post-fight. And you could just tell when someone lives it. Man, and Ben Saunders, it was cool to see that moment for him.
He shocked me. He really did. I felt Ellenberger really needed this fight, but when he hit him with that knee, there's nothing more you can do.
So now, not only does Ellenberger remind me and look a little bit like Rick Story, but he may end up in the PFL alongside Rick Story. We'll see.
Hey,
That's all speculation.
That actually might be a good career move for him.
I think
either there or
is.
Bellator. He needs something to revive his career. Sometimes you need to leave UFC and maybe come back or make a name somewhere else.
How about Julio Arce? Now, he's a friend of the show. We know the dude's a talented cat, but you know what? This dude impresses me every time. His boxing against Daniel Tamer, who, let me tell you, the Tamer brothers are impeccable strikers. The way that Julio Arce outboxed Tamer was just remarkable. And then, Arce didn't slow the pace down, let up off of him. He looked for the finish the whole time, ultimately getting a rear naked choke real close to the end of the fight in round 3. This Julio Arce is improving leaps and bounds every single time.
Now, if you just look at what, the ending thing, a rear naked choke, I said the fight needs to go to the ground for him to really win. Mm-hmm. But throughout the whole fight,
beat his ass on his feet. His boxing looked amazing.
And that was the thing that shocked me the most. Mm-hmm. I was like, I don't think he's going to outbox him. I don't think he's going to outstrike him. But I do think he can combine everything together to really put an overall, beating on this guy. But holy shit.
He tuned him up. It was impressive. It was really special to watch. He's catching his flow. Arce is going to be a guy to watch, man. How about Sam Alvey? He pulled out a very close split decision win against Gian Vellante. And then you got to love Sam. He takes to the mic and he does these crazy call-outs after he wins. But you know what? He did it in Brazil. He said he wanted Vellante. He got him. He does it in Utica. He calls out Corey Anderson. And you know what? I like that fight. I like Alvey and Corey Anderson.
It's crazy, and I'm saying this now. We might be talking by the end of the year.
You said it.
Sam Alvey possibly being a light heavyweight title contender.
And no one could be mad at that.
No, I would be so happy.
Also, we want to give a quick shout out to Bilal Muhammad. He looked amazing in his victory. Des Green, he looked phenomenal in his performance over Gleison Tebow. And then maybe the talk of this weekend, Jose Shorty Torres in his victory over Jared Brooks when Brooks knocked himself out on that takedown.
Did you see me and Jake Smith's little back and forth on Twitter?
I did see part of it.
Yeah. They're just in the back like, all right, listen, here's what we're going to do. He's going to knock himself out, and you're going to win.
Well, I don't think people are giving Torres enough credit. He was on the MMA Hour kind of explaining what he did, and if you listen to what he said and then you watch the replay, people are just acting like Brooks knocked himself out. Well, yes and no, but if you look, Torres, what he said is right away when Brooks went for the takedown and he was lifting me up, I immediately started scrambling towards his back and I locked my hands around his hips. So that way when he went to arch, he couldn't. So when we hit the ground, I'd be in a position to scramble. That's Torres' almost word for word.
Which is where he
Which, if you watch the replay, that's exactly what he did. But by him locking his hips, he could not arch. Yeah. So he technically caused that to happen. This kid has a very high fight IQ. He's very talented. He's going to be fun to watch. You want to talk about Eddie Alvarez? That kid looks like a mini version of Eddie Alvarez.
You know what? I want to say this. During the whole fight, he's a tough guy. I'm not going to say he looked spectacular, but
he didn't. He had a very shaky first round.
But when you know what I liked?
He always comes back.
He kind of reminds me of a Justin Gaethje, Eddie Alvarez mix.
Well, that's what he says. He says he's a Justin Gaethje type fighter, and if you've seen the dude's fights, man, he is in peril almost every fight, but he finds a way to come back and win. Kid's talented.
And once it, and he's actually fairly young, I realized.
25.
25, fairly young. So he's still putting things together.
Him and Blades, man, we're coming up together with this other cat, Angelo Rivera, who's my buddy, who fights tonight. He co-main events tonight at a local card here in Rosemont. And all three of those dudes, man, they all have futures in the sport. And the only reason why Angelo Rivera is still main eventing a regional card is because he took 2 years off from the sport, or else he'd be right next to Blades and Torres right now.
I'm saying that some of the best fighters are coming out of this city.
For sure.
And Shorty Torres, you repped, you won, you got the knockout, and I think you're going to continue to keep getting knockouts, and you're going to be the future flyweight champ.
So perhaps another gentleman that is a future of the sport, he is on this season of Tough, undefeated, Mr. Dulani, the Fight God Perry. Full disclosure, this interview was a little while ago, but we wanted to save it to coincide with Dulani's fight. And lo and behold, he fights tonight, which is
excited.
Wednesday. I am too, man. He is matched up against the number one guy in the show. It's going to be a really tough challenge for Perry. Either way, we had a chance to speak with Dulani. Super cool guy. You really bonded with, dude. Here's our conversation with Dulani, the Fight God Perry. I want to welcome Tough 27 cast member, Dulani Perry. What's going on?
Nothing much, man. Just hanging out, enjoying the day, enjoying life.
It's a beautiful day out here in Chicago. Where are you at today?
I'm in Houston, Texas, H-Town.
Beautiful, beautiful town, man. I love Houston.
Well, I am a fan of you, sir. I watched the most of your fights, and you're an exciting fighter. Of course, you're 4-0. You're on the new season of Tough. I don't want to talk about that, but when did you first catch wind that the new season of The Ultimate Fighter was going to be the Undefeateds? When did you first get an idea that you could compete in that?
As soon as I heard about it, which was the end of last year, sometime around November, I heard about it. And it said Battle of the Undefeated. I said, I'm undefeated. It said 145. I don't fight at 145. I would never fight at 145. I'm a 135-pound fighter. But in life, if you want to be successful, you got to take opportunity as it comes. So I tried out knowing that I would make it, and I made it, and I did what I had to do.
Very good. And as you said, most of your fights, or all of your fights, have came at 135. So that's where you do want to fight going further from here, 135.
Oh, yes, I would never fight at 145 in my life. That was only for the TV show.
Okay, just to make that perfectly clear. All right, well, you are from Houston. A lot of other fighters are from Houston, too. Is it a close-knit MMA community down there?
Very big. It's a very big MMA community out here. There's a lot of fighters. We got a few UFC fighters, some Bellator fighters, some Glory fighters. We got a little bit of everything out here. So, yeah, people out here, we working hard, man. You know, legacy comes from Legacy Fighting Alliance comes from Houston, Texas. That's also a very big pro scene, a very big pro local scene. It started out here, but now they merged with I forgot what it's called, RFA.
Yeah, RFA.
Yeah, but something like that. They merged with LFA, and they're one company now. So, it's a real big promotion company that I was fighting for, and I made a big name for them, and that's how I made my way to get to this UFC Battle of the Undefeated.
Well, you absolutely did, man. And, just being down there, I think you spend most of your training camp at Paradigm, or is that where you do most of your training?
Yeah, I do most of my training at Paradigm Training Center.
With some of the very best in the world.
No, absolutely. We got world champion black belts, and we got a lot of pro MMA fighters. We are the only wrestling gym in Houston outside of, like, high schools and stuff like that. We're the only mixed martial arts gym that offers a full wrestling program. So, yeah, man, we got a lot of good fighters where I come from, and they got me, so they're a good gym. Any gym that has me is a good gym.
The confidence, is that something that you've always had? Were you born with it?
Yeah, absolutely. If I'm not confident in myself, then why should anybody else be confident? Every person needs to be confident. Without confidence, you can't achieve nothing great in life.
Man, that's definitely an attitude of somebody who's going to be doing some big things, man. Could you kind of give us a little insight kind of on your background and how you found MMA?
Well, originally I've been doing karate since I was 5 years old. I started out, my parents put me in karate, and as I started getting older, I was looking for ways to make a living, so I tried a lot of other things. I went to school for auto body, like painting cars and stuff like that, auto collision repair. I didn't really find a passion in that. I went to college, didn't find a passion in that. I did a lot of other things, tried music, all types of stuff, but nothing that really fit me. I put a lot of energy into other people, and I watched other people fail with my energy backing them up, and I was kind of messed up. So, I guess I was looking at what everybody else was doing, and I was saying, oh, in life you look at somebody else making money. You might look at a lawyer and say, oh, that guy's making money. Oh, when I grow up, I want to be a lawyer because they're making money.
Yeah.
And if I do what they do, I can make money. But that doesn't mean you're going to be happy. You understand? There's a difference between happiness and fulfillment. Fulfillment is when it's like happiness forever. Happiness is a very it's just for the moment type of thing. So I'm not looking for happiness. I'm looking for fulfillment, something that can keep me happy forever. So, I had to get out of following other people, and I had to get out of chasing other people's dreams, and I had to do what made me happy. In life, I got kicked out of 3 high schools, 2 colleges off of fighting. So fighting is something that I love to do, whether it was karate or not karate, just fighting overall. I love to do karate. So once I heard of mixed martial arts and I found out that people were making money fighting, I knew that this was the sport for me. I put all my energy into it, and I like money. I like fighting. So now I make a lot of money fighting. So that's how I got into mixed martial arts. I seen some guy knock somebody out on a YouTube video in the midst of me watching the karate videos. And I said, man, this is nothing like karate. That's ongoing, full contact. Karate's like a point system, a sport karate. You hit the guy, kick the guy, and you stop, and the guy punches you, and you stop, and you stop everything. You're fighting for points. And I didn't really like that. So when I seen this guy, it was some black guy, and I said, man, this is some real good stuff. And I like the movies. I live life on the edge. I do a lot of weird things, motorcycle stunting, drifting cars, stuff like that. I like everything wild. So when I seen this, I said, I need to get into this. Somebody show me a gym where I can do this type of stuff at, because the karate is too weak. I really want to know how to beat people up. So somebody showed me, they told me about a Gracie Baja, and I really didn't have no way to get to this Gracie Baja. I asked my dad to give me $100. He sent me $100. I bought a bicycle, and I rode to this Gracie Baja gym. I used to ride there 1 hour on a bicycle every single day, train for 2 hours, and ride back on a bicycle an hour every single day. I went like a full year, and I never missed one single day. And, I got really good at it. I had my first fight. I knocked the guy out. It was the best feeling of my life. And after I knocked that guy out, that was pretty much it. I had it in my mind that this is what I wanted to do with my life. And I've been stuck to this. I don't do nothing but mixed martial arts right now. I dedicate my life to it. And I'm maximizing my potential in it. I plan to soon be the face of mixed martial arts. Nobody's as marketable as me in the sport. Nobody got the swag like me. Nobody got the charisma like me. Nobody got this. I'm the only person that got this, and I'm the only person in this sport that's ever did it and made every decision to represent young black youth in America from the inner cities. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah,
so
that's what I like to hear, brother, man. For real.
I'm coming with a different angle. What I'm doing is not just for myself. I'm doing this to motivate and inspire others to be all that they can be. This has nothing to do with me. In my life, I'm already good. I'm happy. I'm already successful. I already got all the things I can purchase in life. I have everything. So this isn't for me. This is no selfishness. I'm doing this to open eyes for others, because when young black youth in America, they're looking at ways to make money. They're not looking at mixed martial arts, because mixed martial arts fighters are not making money. I mean, there's lots of UFC fighters out here. None of them really have no real money. You know what I'm saying? You have to have a belt to have some money. So I'm trying to show people that there's ways you can market yourself in the sport to make money. I make so much money of sponsorships in this sport, and I'm not even in the I wasn't even at that level. Before I made it to this level, I was already making a bunch of money. You know what I'm saying? Just using my mouth and marketing my ways and marketing myself in so many other ways outside of the sport. But using the sport to set these platforms up for myself. So I'm trying to show people that you can make money from the sport, but you can't count on the promoters to make you all the money. They give you a platform. You gotta use that platform as you being a mixed martial artist to open other doors for yourself and get sponsorships and stuff like that, so you can make money in. But the skills I got, I'm trying to open a lot of eyes for a lot of other people and try to show these young kids, that these young gangbangers out here that are fighting and stuff and getting in trouble for it, like I got in trouble for it. I'm trying to show them you can still fight. You know what I'm saying? But just change your energy, take it away from the negative ways and fight in a positive way. Come fight for this promotional company and get paid to do it. Don't be out here fighting people for free, beating up people for free, going to jail for doing it. Gain some success from doing it. Do what I did. Not be on TV every Wednesday like me on The Ultimate Fighter. You can do this. So these are the kind of things that I'm trying to show to the world.
Man, that's definitely good to hear, man, because, like, I know growing up, I didn't really have much people to look up to being a black kid in an inner city. Like, we don't really have role models that were really kicking game like how you are right now. And I really appreciate that. Not, another guy who's in the UFC who's kind of doing something similar, Kevin Lee, I respect him a lot for that. And hearing how you were just talking kind of reminded me of that, of Kevin Lee. Man, I'm real excited for you, man. You're gonna do some big things, man, for real. Like, especially coming from Houston. Houston is no joke. I love Houston. The wave out there.
Well, I'm originally from New York City, but I've been living in Houston for the last 6 years.
Oh man, New York. What part?
Queens.
Queens. I can kind of hear that now. You rocking Tim's, trying to rock Tim's out in Houston, aren't you? Huh?
Yeah.
Well, man, I appreciate your time. Before I let you go, you want to shout out any of your sponsors, man? The floor is yours.
Well, I ain't shouting nobody out. They sponsored me in the past. I'm looking for new sponsors, so I don't get nobody no shout outs. You know what I'm saying? I give a shout out to myself.
There you go.
Right, Dulani, the fight God, never been beat, never gonna be beat. You know what I'm saying? I know my slogan, whipping ass, getting cash. You know what I'm saying? I'm great. You know what I'm saying? I'm doing everything I like to do. I'm making the best of my life, and I just want everybody to do the same for themselves. You know what I'm saying? Don't do nothing for yourself. Do things to inspire and motivate others. In the Bible, they say there's heaven and hell. You know what I'm saying? And hell is eternal death, and heaven is eternal life. None of us are going to live forever physically, but if you do something so great to impact others spiritually, you can live forever spiritually. So when you think about a person like a Michael Jackson or Muhammad Ali, these guys are dead, and they're going to be dead forever. But people are going to speak of their names for hundreds and thousands of years. So that's what I make every decision in my life for, so that my name can live forever spiritually. So I can be in that heaven, not that I'm going to be in some place with pearly gates, living a secondary life, but know that I touch people so great, and people will never forget me. And I hope that all y'all aim to do the same thing as well. Karai Dulani, the Fight God. Follow me on Instagram at @FightGod_lit.
Thank you so much for your time, man. All right. The thing that is impressive about this dude is that people might call him brash, people might call him egotistical, but he knows what he wants, and he's not afraid to go take it, and I love that.
And it also doesn't seem like he's allowing like anything to go to his head. He kind of is already this way. He's about one goal. Like, he's not going to allow this.
Getting money.
Also, he's talking like he definitely won that fight tonight. So
we'll see, man.
We'll definitely see. I got a little sneaking suspicion he might be one of the guys in the finals.
So the PFL kicks off their inaugural event at the Hulu Theater, Madison Square Garden, this Thursday night. I'm super excited for this. I really think the PFL could have something special. I really like that they're taking a season format to this. It's technically not a tournament like everybody's calling it. It's really not. It was explained to me in great detail the way that the PFL structure works by Lance Palmer. And coincidentally, that's the next interview we have. So without any further ado, let's just play my conversation with Lance Palmer, who coincidentally fights in the co-main event of PFL tomorrow night. Woo! I want to welcome, for the very first time, Lance Palmer to the show. Very pleased to have him, and on last minute. I appreciate you doing this, man.
No problem, man. I appreciate being on.
Anytime, Lance. For people who don't know you, I don't know why they wouldn't. I think that you have long been one of the best guys in the world that isn't in the UFC. 12-3, alpha male fighter. You have long been the face of what was the World Series of Fighting. You were like the face of that promotion, man.
Yeah, I feel like I was, and I feel like I've done a great job of being an advocate for the promotion for a long time. And even I've been in World Series since my 8th pro fight in 2013. So it's been a long time with them, and we've kind of grown together. I've grown as an athlete, and I've grown in my career of MMA, and World Series has grown into an organization that has turned into PFL. So I feel like we've both kind of evolved in different ways, and now we're here together, which is pretty cool.
Yeah, man, I'm super excited about PFL. You, Andre Harrison, fighting on this first card. How has it been a little bit different, PFL and World Series?
The biggest difference is it's a season. So instead of it being just a promotion where you fight and try and be a number one contender and then fight for the title and things like that, it turned into a regular season where you have a couple fights in the regular season, which qualifies you for the postseason, where you have a potential to fight in the quarterfinal, semifinal, and then the championship, which is the $1 million prize. So it's just it's a different format, and all the big four sports in the United States use that format with regular season and postseason and championship series. So I think it's great for our sport of MMA, and I think it's going to change the way things are done in MMA. And so it's good to be a part of that the very first time. And it's not a tournament; it goes by season. So that's where it's a little different from other organizations.
Yeah, you guys actually are scored. You guys are given points based on your performances, and yeah, I'm really excited, man. I think that there's room for an organization like yours, and with guys like you and Andre and Rick. I mean, just so many guys that Ray Seffel and company went out and signed 72 quality guys. One of those guys is stepping across from you on Thursday night. That's Beklat Magomedov. He's 19-2. I don't know if the casual fan knows who he is, but he is a tough dude.
Yeah, definitely. And he was he's a 135er. There's no 135-pound season this year for PFL. So he and Timur Valiev, who's another tough 135-pound opponent, both of those guys are coming up to the featherweight division and trying to get into this postseason. So Bekvalat's definitely a tough guy. He's had a lot of fights, but I don't think he's fought anybody of my caliber yet. So I'm excited to go out there and invite him into this 145-pound weight class.
Speaking of guys at your caliber, as I mentioned, you train at Alpha Male. You're just one of the most hard-nosed, well-respected guys in the entire sport. You obviously don't get to your level by looking past people, but has your mind wandered to that $1 million prize a little bit?
Well, definitely. I mean, when it comes down to signing the contract to be in this season of PFL and kind of weighing my options after my last fight in November of whether I wanted to stay and wait it out or if I wanted to move on, it definitely crossed my mind of, whether I wanted to take a different route or if I wanted to stay with PFL and do this season and see how it plays out. So I'm definitely excited about it. And obviously, I don't think anybody in this season of PFL has looked past that. I think everybody has thought about that at least once. And it's, $1 million plus all your fight purses leading up to that $1 million prize. So it's not just $1 million at the end of the year. I'm getting paid every single fight leading up to that. So it's a lot more than $1 million for me. So it's life-changing at the end of the day.
Yeah, as I said, man, I'm super excited. I listened to the Ray Seffel interview from Monday with Ariel Helwani on the MMA Hour. I really think that the PFL is poised to do big things this year, man. I'm super excited. I mentioned Andre Harrison a couple times in this. I'd be hard-pressed if I didn't mention your last loss was against him. A lot of people think, man, you and him are definitely the top two guys in the featherweight bracket. Do you foresee you and him showing down for that $1 million prize at the end of the season?
I think it would be great. I think it'd be great for the season. I think it'd be great for PFL, and I think obviously it'd be great for both of us. But you can't get to the finals of that without winning each fight leading up to that. So right now, I'm just focused on Bekvalat Magomedov right now, and when the time comes, I'm definitely excited to try and get that fight back. I don't make excuses when it comes to fights, but I don't think. Breaking my hand in the first 2 minutes of the fight wasn't necessarily an excuse. It was just something that happened that kind of prevented me from putting my best performance out there when we fought. So I'm excited to go out there and hopefully get that one back and be able to get another opportunity to fight him.
Yeah, and you could tell that early on in that fight, you just weren't the same. So, not making excuses for you. You don't need excuses, but you weren't definitely yourself in that fight. So hopefully we do get, hopefully we do get to see that again as fans. Before I let you go, man, you posted a very cool pic on Twitter yesterday, and you can be found at Twitter at Lance Palmer. It was just a view in front of Renzo Gracie's gym, or in his gym rather, and with the quote, "All I've ever known is hard work." And I just thought that was a very, very cool picture that really embodies what you're about.
Yeah, definitely. And I think Renzo, he's a great person, and I've known Renzo for a few years now, and my manager Ali has kind of brought us a little closer together because he and Ali are really close. So I think Renzo's mindset and the way Renzo fought and the way Renzo teaches is the same mentality that I've always had growing up, that my dad instilled in me. It was just, hard work and discipline, and that none of that stuff can be taken from you when it comes down to it. So hard work is something that's gotten me to this level, and it's something that I'll never waver from. And a lot of people try and take the easy road out or take the easiest way there, and that's not always been the case for me. I've had to take the hard road sometimes, and the road less traveled, and the road that I don't even want to take sometimes. But definitely, the hard work is what pays off in the end, and that's what I've always embodied.
Well, I can't wait, man. I truly think the PFL is going to be something special, and I really think that it's going to come down to you and Andre, and I'm super stoked, man. Any final words? Of course, as I said, you could be found on Twitter at Lance Palmer. The floor is yours, man. You'd like to shout your sponsors, anything you'd like?
Yeah, definitely. My two sponsors for this fight are New View Roofing out of Dallas, Texas, and Beat Kicks headphones covers out of Los Angeles, and they're both great companies, great people. And, I'm looking forward to representing them well as my team and my coaches and my family and my friends and everybody who supports me. I represent all of those people when I step in the cage. And so, that's all I really have, except for make sure you tune in Thursday night. The live TV card on NBC Sports starts at 9 p.m. Eastern time, and I'll probably be fighting around 10:15. So I'm excited for this fight and to kick off this PFL season.
Well, I can't wait, man. That's this Thursday on MSNBC Sportsnet. And as Lance said, you're not going to want to miss his fight. It's going to be one of the highlights of the show. I appreciate your time, brother.
Awesome. Thank you very much.
All right, there's Lance Palmer. See, the way that it is it's going to be actually scored based on points, and then the highest rated points guys get put into a bracket, and I really like it. I think it's a cool thing that they have there. In the featherweight bracket, it's no secret. The two names that jump out at you, Lance Palmer, Andre Harrison, these two will probably end up meeting for the $1 million payday. Yeah. And as I said in the interview to Lance, he's the last guy to beat you. So would that make it a little extra sweeter? You fucking better believe it would.
Oh, God, yes.
We also had a chance to talk with Andre Harrison. He is a guy that has long been supportive of the show. I've had the pleasure of speaking with this man for the last few years.
I feel like he was one of our first interviews.
He was on our very first show.
So he's back, and I'm excited.
Very cool guy, man. I'm so happy that he was on the MMA Hour last week, and I'm happy that people are starting to recognize him as one of the best. Here's our conversation with Andre the Bull Harrison. I want to welcome back to the show, Mr. Andre the Bull Harrison. I'm very happy that people are starting to recognize you, man. You just made an appearance on the MMA Hour. How was that?
That was awesome, man. I like when I got to do like a social media thing, and not social media event, and it's not like straight. It doesn't feel like question answer. Like it just feels like a regular conversation, and that's how I felt on there. It was good. I enjoyed it.
Yeah, I thought you came off really good, man. And if people don't know who you are, first off, let me back up, because if they're a fan of the sport and they don't know who you are, shame on them, because how could they not, right? I've long said that I believe you are one of the very best featherweights in the world, 17-0, and it really feels like the PFL is pushing you now, as you mentioned on the show. It's good to see, man, and I think it's going to reflect in your performance. How have things been for you?
It's been surreal, man. Trying to take everything one step at a time, but it's like it's literally like being in the process of like transforming into being like well known, and like you said, getting all the credit and everything I deserve and everything I've been working for.
Yeah, and it's nothing's owed to anybody, I suppose, but it feels good to finally to see you finally getting what you've worked so hard for. I mean, you're 17-0. There's not a guy in the world that's been able to figure you out yet. So I just think there's something to that. You've been fighting very high level guys. It's not like they've been handing you cans. You've been beating the best of the best. I mean, Lance Palmer, the guys you've beaten are the very best in the world. So I'm stoked, man. June 7th is going to be a big day for you.
Thank you.
Your opponent, I know that he's Chinese, and I know that he's a pretty talented striker, but other than that, do you know much about him?
No. I know just as much as you do. I know he's a tough guy. I mean, anybody that gets in there and gets 20 wins is somebody to be respected in the sport, and he's fought on the highest level of, in mixed martial arts. So definitely a tough dude. I think he's pretty well rounded. He'll strike, he'll wrestle if need be, good on the ground. He's a good dude, man. I just think, I'm different right now. I think I'm on a different level.
Yeah, I would say too. So it's been a while since the last time we got to see you in competition. What are some of the new wrinkles that you've been working on?
Everything. I work on every part of the game, man. I've been, working my striking, 6 days out the week with Keith Trimble, working my grappling with Joe Scarola. I even put in extra sessions with, Matt Cully and me and Randy Brown, we grapple a lot. Greg Gillespie, we grapple. And, working on my strength with Dr. Michael Camp. Even working on my wrestling, man. I got Jamel Hudson. He just won a national tournament a couple weekends back in North Carolina. But that's my wrestling partner, man. We get in here, we mix it up a couple times out the week. So I've been working everything.
Let me ask you, man, did you put on a substantial amount of muscle mass from the last time that you performed?
I don't know how much more I could put on.
Well, the reason why I say that is because when you were on the MMA Hour, you looked noticeably what's the word? More full. And I know you're not cutting weight right now. Maybe that's it. But you just look like you put on some real lean muscle, man. And you were already cut. So, I don't know how you do it.
I appreciate that, man. Noticing the hard work. That's all Dr. Camp right there. I legitimately get in there and just do whatever he has drawn up for me. And, when I was on the MMA Hour, I weighed 158, 157. So I'm not heavy or anything by any means right now.
Right.
You know what I mean? So that's just good old fashioned hard work, man. I had 10 months off, and I could have probably been vacationing, and I could have probably been at all different kinds of parties and all that. I chose to use that 10 months to train and develop skills and become a better mixed martial artist.
Yeah, man, I can't wait. I think that's what really separates guys like you, champions from the other guys. It's you literally eat, sleep, and breathe this. What's your relationship with Ray Sefo? Do you guys talk a lot, or obviously he's got your back, but how is it working for Ray?
Ray's a good guy, man. I liked Ray from day one. I used to watch Ray when he used to kickbox. I used to watch him a lot there. I thought he was, a tough fighter, and now that he's promoting, I feel like, he's doing it from a fighter's friendly standpoint. Because he understands what we go through and what we have to do and sacrifice to be in a position that we're in. You know what I mean? But, yeah, I like Ray a lot, man. Anytime I talk to Ray, it's always good stuff. It's never anything bad or, he's the man.
Have you allowed yourself to think about all the money at the end of this fight rainbow, so to speak? $1 million, that's life-changing money, man.
Yeah, man, that definitely puts me in a different tax bracket. It is, man, but you know how it goes, man. It's tournament structured. You can't look too far ahead. You got to focus at the task at hand, otherwise you ain't even going to get there. So for me right now, I'm not even thinking $1 million. I'm not looking at that right now. I'm just seeing Madison Square Garden June 7th and Juma. I'm just looking at him, and again, I told you he's somebody that deserves to be respected. And as all the other featherweights in the tournament, I don't think there's any easy fights in the tournament, and so I plan to do everything in my power, man, and make sure that, I'm ready and I'm able to perform to the best of my ability.
For sure, yeah. As you mentioned, the guys, not even in just your class and your division, but the whole PFL roster. There's some really good guys on there. I can't wait. I really am a big fan of Ray Sefo, and I love what you guys are doing there at the PFL. I'll be honest with you though, man. I'm in Chicago here, and their second event is going to be a couple weeks after the first event there. I was hoping you were going to be in that Chicago card, but ultimately that's just I was being selfish because you get to fight in your own backyard of New York. What is that going to be like for you?
It's going to be nuts. I fought in New York before, but it was kind of last minute, number one, and number two, it wasn't like I wasn't as what's the word that I'm looking for? I wasn't as advertised like I am now. Right now, I'm advertised like everywhere on everything. Like there's not a time where I can open up any platform of social media and not see myself. You know what I mean? And they're really, really promoting me, and I appreciate it, man. And I plan on making good on the investment. You know what I mean? Because I want people to want to tune in and watch me. You know what I mean? So it's gonna be a good night, man.
Yeah, I can't wait, man. That's June 7th at the Madison Square Garden Hulu Theater. I know I can't wait, man. Unfortunately, I won't be there in person, but I'll be watching it on TV for sure. All the fights, man, as you mentioned, it's going to be a very good evening. And, of course, it's headlined by your fight against Juma. I truly believe that you are one of the very 2 or 3 best featherweights in the world, Andre, and I wish you the best of luck, sir. On social media, you can be followed on Twitter and Instagram at Dre the Bull. The floor is yours if you'd like to shout out to your sponsors, anything you'd like, man.
Yeah, man. My girlfriend actually, because when you get asked this question, it's like you get caught off guard. So she wrote down like a little list for me to
there you go.
remember the sponsor spot. There we go. I found it. I thought I wasn't gonna be able to find it, but I like shout out all my trainers, Belmore Kickboxing, Keith Trimble, Sparrow Atlantis, Gracie Baja, Joe Scarola, Best Age Physical Therapy, Mike Camp, John Amato, my manager, Battle Squad Management, Matt Cully, and definitely shout out PFL and Race FO and everybody, Carlos for looking out for me. Sponsors, Everlast, Net Worth Realty, Mark Bloom, Fit Body Boot Camp, Energy Fuel, Meal Posters, Russ Beard Grooming, and everybody on there.
For sure. Well, Andre, I know you're super busy lately, man, so I appreciate your time from the bottom of my heart. Everybody else, that's PFL 1. It takes place June 7th, and Andre is going to look to keep doing this thing one step closer to the $1 million, right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Thanks, man. I look forward to talking with you after your fight again.
All right, cool, man. I'm going to try and make it to Chicago, so you might even catch me over there.
Well, I look forward to it.
We'll see. Fingers crossed. All righty.
All right.
There's the bull, the underground king, the future champ of the 145-pound division, in my opinion.
Well, it's interesting, man. He was the World Series of Fighting featherweight champion, but they're not actually going to have championship belts at the PFL. They have season champions.
I kind of like that because I feel like we're going to get more fights that we want.
Well, I like it too, and you know what Lance was saying in the interview, instead of you fighting for a number one contender to work your way up to a title shot, it is what it is. You beat the guy in front of you, and the next fight is cut and dry. The thing I love about this is there's no guys that I don't want to fight him. He's ranked below me. No, You fight who is next up, and that's it. Hey, I love that. We'll see.
One guy learned that lesson. He's off timeout now, so...
Yeah, but supposedly there's another guy now that's getting the axe because he won't take fights, but hasn't really been reported or released who that is yet. So we'll have to see. But moving along here, man, UFC 225 is finally here, man. One of the biggest cards of the year, and it takes place in our backyard of Chicago. Let's get to it.
What up, Chi-Town? We got the best card in the world. We're gonna do it.
We're going to pick the main card fights as we usually do, and we'll give you a bonus, and we'll pick the Blades and Overeem fight as well. But let's start at the top here. We have a rematch between Whitaker and Yoel Romero for the undisputed middleweight title. Who wins and why?
Okay, so this is tough because I want Yoel to win.
Mm-hmm.
I think Yoel has all the tools to win.
Mm-hmm. I sense a butt coming.
But Whitaker is a bad man.
He is. You know what I noticed about Whitaker watching those embedded and the hype shows for the 225? You know what I noticed? He's a pretty guy. Yeah. He has a very nice complexion. I don't like the accent because I'm not a fan of Australian accents, but he's a pretty guy.
Australian accents are drunk British people.
Listen, I have British in me, full disclosure. British, I have British DNA, British and Italian DNA, right?
They're just drunk British people.
I don't like the British accents. I don't like Australia. Listen, I'm whatever. Call me what you will. I'll own it. I just don't like their accents. But Whitaker is a pretty fucking guy. I don't have an ounce of gay in my body, but he's a pretty guy.
No, he's a good looking dude.
I think we have a new middleweight champion. I think Yoel Romero is going to realize his dream, and he's going to do it in Chicago.
I want that to happen.
I think it will.
I want that.
I think it's his time.
You want to know why I want that to happen? Because I've heard his story.
Mm-hmm.
I think this is like the most beautiful story in the world.
He has a great story.
It encapsulates perfectly. He lost to Whitaker.
He's such a nice guy, too.
Oh, my God. And he loves everybody.
And that's not saying Whitaker's not a nice guy, and he's got a beautiful wife and a beautiful little girl.
But Whitaker has time to win it back.
He does. And, I think Whitaker's been improving, and I think he's one of the best in the world. But I really just feel like it's Romero's time. My only concern is I hope Romero makes weight.
Oh, I think he's going to make weight. That's not an issue.
I hope so.
He's never missed weight before. He had one slip up.
He missed it in the Rockhold fight to win the title.
That's what I was saying. He had one slip up on a late note,
just so happened to be his last fight though too.
So it was a late notice fight. I don't hold that against him. I think he's going to make weight. Here's what I think.
I'm not holding it against him. I'm just a little concerned because if he doesn't make weight and he wins, then we have that same situation again where he should be the champ, but he's not.
I don't think he will allow that to happen.
I hope not.
But I think Yoel will win, and then we'll get a trilogy.
All right, and then the co-main event, this one is hard to pick, man. I keep going back and forth. You have Rafael Dos Anjos, world beater, former champ at 155, comes up to 170, just is on a tear against a guy, Colby Covington, who arguably talked himself into this position. He has had a great victory over Damian Maia.
He's still a great wrestler.
He's a great all-around martial artist. If you look at what he did to Maia, he beat Damian Maia more convincingly and easier than the champ did, than Tyron Woodley did. That being said, I just think RDA is on another level, and I'm going with RDA here.
So, Kobe Covington antics aside, because everybody has seen my coming at him on Twitter because I think it's fun to poke fun at him.
Another thing to keep in note for this is Covington has never been in a 5-round fight.
No.
This is.
And that's a big deal. Cody Covington has cardio for days. Kobe Covington is a great wrestler. I don't judge anybody off their fights with Maya. If you win, you win. Like
Right.
it's
Yeah,
not.
we talked. It's more of a strategy.
It's more of a strategy. I think Kobe Covington has the camp to win. I just don't think he has. I don't think he's there yet. If this was Kobe Covington in a couple of years, where he's been able to round out his game a little bit more, then yes. RDA has already been a champion. He's fought in those 5-round fights. He knows what it feels like when you got nothing left in the tank and you got to pull something out. So I'm gonna go with RDA on this for just the simple fact that I think that Kobe Covington's inexperience in 5-round battles and championship type fights, digging deep, I don't think he's there yet. But if he can get the fight to the ground and keep it there, kind of do a Khabib on RDA, he has a chance.
Yeah, I think that Covington is talented enough to win. I think he's good enough to win. I just think RDA is better at this particular point in time, so I think that he'll get it done.
I think he's more. I don't think he's better. I think he's more well-rounded.
Holly Holm, Megan Anderson. I'm super excited that Megan Anderson is finally making her UFC debut. She's got a tough draw here in Holly Holm, but I think she gets it done because she is a legitimate featherweight and Holly Holm is not.
I think she gets it done just for the simple fact I don't know what Holly Holm is doing. I really don't. I'm really worried about her.
What do you mean, fighting at 145?
And fighting in general. Like, it just seems that there's something missing, and I don't know what it is with her. She has all the great striking, but for some reason, she just cannot get it done. And I think Megan Anderson is a true 145 pounder, and she is a legit elite 145 pounder as well. She's not just a 145 pounder from Invicta they're bringing in. She's a legit contender to Chris Cyborg.
She's a talented girl, man. She's a big, strong striker. She is competent on the ground. Holly Holm is world class. I don't think that necessarily there's anything wrong with Holly Holm, but maybe her time has passed. You don't get younger in this game. People get better, and maybe her time has just passed. I like Megan Anderson. I like Holly fighting at 135 where she belongs. There's got to be a reason why she keeps fighting at 145, though. So
cutting weight sucks.
Well, I think there's more to that. I don't know. I think there's more to it.
Also, it's proven it is very unhealthy for females to continue to cut weight just due to their situations.
That's a fair point. And then Arlovsky and Taitiavasa. Andrei Arlovsky, Taitiavasa, super stoked for this fight. This is going to be a heavyweight barn burner. Arlovsky has a ton of Chicago ties. At one point, he was the most dangerous guy in the world, man. He was the Pitbull, the heavyweight champion. Taitiavasa doesn't even remember that time. He is just a fucking confident, strong, and charismatic Aussie. And if he connects with those hands, those lunch boxes, he puts people to sleep.
I think he's going to put him to sleep. But, man, this fight would have been so awesome on the undercard.
Yeah, I don't understand why they moved the Overeem Blades fight to headline the prelims. I mean, I do and I don't. I understand that's going to draw more eyes. But
I played devil's advocate, but in my personal opinion, I don't care about Andrei Arlovsky anymore. I'm sorry, I don't. This is a really great undercard free fight because you're going to see hell.
However, it's not. It's on the main card. So, I mean, yeah, I get it. I understand all the reasons why. I don't know. I don't know if I would have done the same thing. I like Taitiavasa in this because I think he is on the uprise. And Arlovsky, he's surprising me time and time again. But I just don't know if he's got enough tricks in his bag to beat this young stud.
He had his last run, I feel, and he's kind of on that downslope.
And then kicking off the main card, a fight that has been highly criticized and publicized, CM Punk making his second walk to the octagon against Mike the Truth Jackson. 0-1 versus 0-1.
Mike the Truth Jackson. Man, this is weird because Mike the Truth Jackson,
cool dude. We've had him on the show.
Really like him, but he was a journalist. He did fight before.
He's a fighter, journalist,
journalist. CM Punk, there has to be something to be said. He has spent 2 to 3 years doing nothing but training.
This is true.
I don't think that he can beat barely anybody in the UFC unless he just gets lucky. But maybe a guy who hasn't been training
Who has similar skills as him.
similar skills
Mike
as him
Jackson.
and Mike Jackson. Maybe we're going to see, a legit amateur fight.
Yeah.
and and it's no disrespect to Mike Jackson. He's awesome. Thank you for coming on the show, and I really appreciate everything you've done for the sport as a writer and everything like that.
Who do you think, Punk or Jackson?
I'm going to go with Punk in this, only because he's been training nonstop at probably one of the best camps, Duke Rufus in Milwaukee, for 3 years straight. And if you're training that much, maybe you can bring some magic.
Listen, you spend enough time in a barbershop, you're going to get a haircut, right?
Yeah, and I think that also he's training with guys like Ben Askren. You can't not get better.
Yeah, see, to me, this is one of the harder fights to pick on the card because I've gone back and forth a few times, and I get to speak with more Rufus sport fighters than any other fighters on the planet. And almost every single Rufus sport fighter to a T will tell you that CM Punk is in there every day. He's grinding, he's working, he's improving, which makes me want to pick him. But I can't. I'm gonna go Mike Jackson here because as Mike Jackson said when I spoke with him, listen, the dude's been a martial artist his entire life. This isn't something he just started to train.
No.
So for CM Punk to call this guy a can, that just triggered bad blood. And I don't know. I think CM Punk is an athlete. I'm a fan of him. I think him being on this card is good because it's going to generate a ton of gate, a ton of money. I just think Mike Jackson is a better martial artist. So I'm going with Jackson.
Yeah. It's hard. You know what, baby? I was rooting for CM Punk, but then I did just remember that he called Mike Jackson a can. Mike the True Jackson, knock him out.
And then headlining the prelims, we alluded to it, Alistair Overeem, Curtis Blades, Chicago Zone. This is a tough one. I've gone back and forth a few times on this, man. I initially thought Overeem. Then I was like Blades. Then I went Overeem. Then I went Blades. Now I legitly... I'm caught up on this. What do you think?
So I kind of went back and forth too because there's the striking of Overeem. You look at him; he's a beast. He's probably one of the best.
Great striking.
One of the best strikers probably ever in the heavyweight division.
No doubt.
But Curtis Blades is probably one. I'd say top 2 wrestlers
In the heavyweight division?
Yeah, top 2, top 3. He's a JUCO national champ. He went toe to toe with Francis Ngannou, and the only reason he lost that fight was doctor stoppage. I'm going to go with Curtis Blades on this because I think he has more tools in his bag to win.
Yeah.
If he wasn't as an established wrestler as he is, I would go with Overeem. But Overeem's takedown defense is good, but not good enough to stop a JUCO national champ.
Yeah, this was tough for me, like I said, man, because, so much of me wants to go with a friend of the show, Curtis Blades. So much of me does. But, when I put on my journalist cap and I played impartial and I look down the middle and I try to be objective-free, rather, I think Overeem is going to win this fight. And I think he's going to set Blades a little bit back in his rise, but I think this is what Blades needs.
Kind of like the Stipe loss that he had.
I don't know. It's too early for me to compare things, but I think Blades is phenomenal. I just don't think he's elite yet. And I think if he just keeps winning, I don't think he'll ever achieve that level of eliteness that he needs to be the champion. But I think a loss by Overeem here in his own backyard, I think could be the thing that Blades needs to really kick his ass. And I'm not saying he's one of the hardest working guys in the world, but I'm saying I think this loss could be the devastating. Out of tragedy comes great things.
Yeah.
And I think that this is a big stage for Blades. He's coming home. This is a big fight for him. This is like his WrestleMania. This is a Super Bowl. For him to lose, this would be almost life-shattering. But if he could pull himself up through that, I think that's what would forge a champion. So I think this is almost what Blades needs. So I'm going to go over him.
I think it's going to be a war. I don't think Overeem's going to make it easy at all. But I'm going to go with Blades.
I'm going to put this out here. A lot of people know Alistair Overeem as this amazing striker, as you alluded to. He has almost as many submission wins as he does KOs.
Oh.
People don't realize that.
He's good off his back.
He's phenomenal off his back. I'm just throwing this out there. Overeem maybe by submission in this?
Could be. I'm going to say this real quick. I followed Curtis Blades' wrestling career since I was in middle school because he was the top heavyweight around in Illinois. And I wanted to wrestle him one day and beat him. So, like, you know, he was one of those top guys that you heard about, like, Curtis Blades. And, you know, all the other heavyweights would train for a guy like him. So he never knew who I was, but I knew who he was.
Right.
And watching him and, you know, in his high school matches and knowing people who've trained with him, Curtis Blades doesn't need a kick in the ass. He might need a war, but he doesn't need a kick in the ass to make him a champion. This guy has what it takes.
I don't know if kicking the ass was necessarily the right word for me, but I think
I get what you're saying, though. The gist of, like, it's kind of like that. It's what Daniel Cormier calls the rub.
No champion has ever got to where he wants to be without suffering some kind of catastrophic setback and rising through it.
If it wasn't for John Jones, we wouldn't have Daniel Cormier as great as he is.
So I just think that Blades needs something like that, and I think this could be it. Elsewhere on the card, man, Ricardo Lamas is fighting. We want to wish him the best of luck. Claudia Gadelha, Carla Esparza is on the card. Friend of the show, Rashard Coulter is fighting. Mike Santiago is fighting Dan Ige. And, of course, Rashard Evans is fighting Anthony Lionhart Smith. Real quick, man, we had a chance to speak with Anthony Lionhart Smith. A very cool guy, man, spending a lot of his time now in Colorado, training at Factory X with a bunch of good fighters there. Really nice guy, Anthony Smith. We talked about some tattoos and fighting and life, and here's a conversation with Lionhart. I want to welcome Anthony Smith to the show. He is a longtime UFC fighter, 28-13, and he's got a fight coming up in Chicago here, UFC 225. What's going on, man?
Not much, man. Just getting done training.
This is the first time I've had the pleasure to speak with you, so I do appreciate you doing this. You're coming up here to Chicago, UFC 225. Man, have you ever been to Chicago?
I have. My manager's actually from Chicago, and I actually recently just competed in the IBJJF tournament there just a couple months ago, so I was just there.
Your fighting style, man, is something that the fans here are going to really appreciate, man. You bring it every time you step into there. You're going up to 205 for this Rashard Evans fight, huh?
I am. And I think, and as far as our plan right now, 205 is going to be my permanent home.
I mean, obviously, you probably went back and forth, you know, agonizing over if that was where you were going to go or not, or stay at 185. What ultimately led to the decisions to go up to light heavyweight? Because I agree with it, and I think that's going to be a better place for you.
Just my last 3 weight cuts, they were awful, man. My body's just not reacting the way that it used to when I was a little bit younger, and I'm just getting heavier and heavier in between fights, and a lot of that has to do with the stress that I'm putting on my body, getting all the way down to 185. I'm a pretty big guy, and 185 pounds is really small for me. So I think that part of the problem with staying at 185 for so long was I was on a winning streak, and it's really hard to leave a division when you're doing well. And, you know, you're supposed to keep winning fights and then just decide that you're going to start all over again in a new division. That's just a really tough decision to make. So I told myself that I was going to ride that shit until the wheels fell off, and my last weight cut was one of the worst experiences I've ever been through in my whole life. And I was starting to feel really nervous for my own safety, you know, but I'm not making weight wasn't an option. So, you know, and then I lost the fight. And I think that part of that has a lot to do with my weight cut.
Let me ask you, man. I mean, guys like you, guys that say, you know, missing weight, that's not even an option, and, you know, you put yourself at extreme physical peril to make weight, you did, and your performance might have sacrificed for it. Well, what do you feel when you see, like, someone like Mackenzie Dern who misses weight by 7-8 pounds, and it's just so disrespectful, and you got guys like you who damn near die trying to make it? I mean, how does it make you feel?
Man, it pisses me off. It has nothing to do with, I mean, none of my weight cuts go well. Everyone always wants to say, oh, well, this happened and then that happened and it just didn't go well. Nothing ever goes well. There's no fucking plan for it. Like, it just doesn't work like that. So when I hear these people talking about, you know, all their excuses and all the BS reasons, it really pisses me off. Like, if the rest of us got to make it, so do you. And I think by, people that have missed weight in the UFC that have fought have gone 6-0. There's a reason for that. You know, had I stopped 5 pounds away, I think the fight would have been totally different.
Yeah, it's I forget what the stat is, but you're right. It's something ridiculous. It's the people that don't make weight and the fight still goes on. They something like 95% of the time they win. It's ridiculous. It's absolutely an advantage, even if it's unintentional. it's still an advantage. So something needs to be done about that. You have some of the coolest tattoos, man, that I've seen. I'm a big admirer of artwork. I have a half sleeve on my right arm. I'm working on getting it finished currently. But man, you have some really nice work. I especially like the tattoos on your knuckles there.
Oh yeah, man. That's my fiance actually came up with that. I've been trying to figure out something to put on my knuckles, and she was trying to help me figure out something that kind of speaks to me a little bit, and fear none. I mean, that's Anthony Smith in a nutshell.
Yeah, that's very cool. You got so much work. Is it all one artist or many artists?
There's a couple different ones there. The majority, all of my sleeve is one person. My whole back piece is one person. So I mean, I try not to mix in too many people, on the same piece. Obviously, that's definitely, you want to avoid that as much as you can. But there's a handful of different artists on there.
Very nice. When you're up here for 225, I'll have to look at it more closely. I'm a huge admirer. As I said, I know what you're saying because my whole half sleeve is done by the same guy. So you've been around since 2011 in Strikeforce. I remember watching you compete. A lot of guys, though, they don't know who Anthony Smith is, but I have a feeling after you take care of business against Rashard Evans, I have a feeling more people are going to know who Anthony Smith is. What does this fight mean to you? I mean, he's such a big name.
I really appreciate the name. I mean, that's really cool. And I think it's really cool to fight a former champion. I think that Rashard Evans is a legend in this game. I think he's a pioneer of modern MMA. And I think that it's a good challenge. I think that a lot of people aren't giving Rashard enough credit, man. I mean, if you look at his last 4 fights or whatever it is, I mean, he's got losses, but a couple of those are split decisions. I think there's one knockout. I mean, he's in the last couple of fights he's had. He's been in the fights. Those are close losses, and they're the tough dudes. I mean, Dan Kelly isn't no slouch, and neither is Sam Alvey. So I think that people are writing him off, and I'm not one of those people. So this fight means a lot to me. This is coming out, and hopefully I'm going to be able to show what I'm really capable of. I truly believe that you guys have only seen me at 60 or 70%. And I mean that as far as that's how hard I'm trying. That's just the output that I'm able to give, with the weight cuts. And then even after the fight, I sit there and I'm so angry at myself because I know that I have so much more that people have no idea about. Everyone in the gym sees it. My coaches see it. And if we can just bring that person from the gym into the fight, man, it's going to be a celebration for everybody.
Lionheart, how did that come about?
You ever seen the movie?
Oh, yeah, of course. Is that was just that easy?
Yeah, when I was an amateur,
okay,
I had a lot of amateur fights, and there was this announcer that was around locally that announced a lot of my fights, and he's, back then I kind of had the reputation of, you're gonna have to kill me to get me out of there, and I wasn't very good back then, so I would kind of take beatings in my fights and then kind of come back at the end with a slick submission or a knockout, I mean, a little bit mirroring my last few fights in the UFC. I just don't quit. I just keep coming, and no matter how ugly it is, I do what I got to do to get the win. And that's kind of how Van Damme was in that movie. So he called me Lionheart one time, and it just stuck.
I love it. Yeah, that what comes to mind, man, is your Fight Night 116 fight against Hector Lombard when you KO'd him in the 3rd round. To me, that was one of your finest moments. Would you agree?
I think so. I think I definitely showed my ability to adapt a little bit. Hector came out much differently than we expected him to. I think he even evolved a little bit leading up into that fight. I think he got a little bit better, and he showed a wrinkle that we weren't expecting, and maybe possibly a hole in my game at the time as far as the leg kick stuff go. That really kind of changed the whole pace of what I was planning on doing. But how many people stand in front of Hector Lombard for 3 rounds? You know what I mean? There's not too many people that do that. And again, I think that just speaks to me who I am as a person. I just don't give a shit. I'm down and I'm ready to go. And I think that me weathering that storm and then putting him away like I said that I would really showed a lot.
Yeah, there's no doubt, man. That Hector Lombard fight was super impressive. How is training, man? Where are you spending most of your time nowadays?
For about the last year and a half, I've been at Factory X in Denver.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I just talked to Brandon Royval.
Oh, yeah. Brandon's a gangster, man. I like that kid.
Yeah, he had a great fight at LFA 39 a couple of weekends ago.
Yeah, I watched it. I still live in Omaha, so I go back home every single weekend, man. I try to spend as much time with my family as I can. My kids and my fiance. the schedule's a little bit hectic, but I'm home Friday night and I'm back in the gym in Denver Monday morning.
Very cool, man. Yeah, no, I feel you, man. The older it gets, it's more about family and kids. And, I don't know about you, but, I was told that growing up, and it just, you never know. And see, till you really appreciate it, then you really can understand it. You know what I mean?
Oh, absolutely, man. I don't think I'd be able to do this if it wasn't for them, and especially if I wasn't in a position where I could go back and forth, I'm not sure that I would stay here this long,
Oh, yeah.
So I do about 6 to 8 weeks here in Denver, for each fight, and then I do about 10 days a month in between fights just to stay sharp. But if I wasn't in a position to be able to go back and forth every single weekend, it would be too hard. I just don't do very well when I'm not with my family, and my mindset falls apart, and sometimes this shit just doesn't become worth it. As I get older, the time with my kids and my fiance, it becomes more and more important every single day, and without that, I just don't know if I'd be able to do it.
I feel you, man. I'm right there. I'm 100% right there. I'm a little older than you, a lot older than you. I'm 37, but man, you're 29, right?
Yeah.
And to have that mindset at 29, man, and to be as tough as you are, this is going to be fun to watch you fight, because I think it's your time. So I appreciate you taking this time and speaking with me, man. On social media, you're at Lionhart. You're at Lionhart Smith, and then on Instagram, you're at Anthony Smith, correct?
Yeah, Instagram, I'm Anthony Smith UFC, and Twitter, it's at Lionhart Smith.
All right, the floor is yours, man. If you'd like to shout out your sponsors, anything you'd like, bro.
I just like to thank all my fans for sending me my meals here in Denver, keeping me lean and my body working right. Of course, Factory X, my coach is Mark Montoya. That dude is, someday he's going to be on the ballot with the rest of those people, for the MMA awards. The guy's a genius, man. And just you guys, man. When it comes down to it, the media is who helps us get our name out there, So I appreciate you reaching out.
Absolutely, man. Anytime. I can't wait till you get here in Chicago, and best of luck to you at UFC 225, man.
Thanks a lot, man. Let's make sure we hook up.
For sure, definitely. Appreciate it, Anthony.
Take care.
All right, there you go.
I normally don't bet against Rashad Evans, but I'm betting against Rashad Evans.
Well, I just think Rashad is a little bit, he's just, it's not Rashad anymore. So one of the highlights of our year, talking to Mr. Bruce Buffer, of course, the UFC's in Chicago, and anytime the UFC comes to these here parts, try to get our man Bruce on the phone. He was so gracious to give us a few minutes this morning. Let's play the interview for everybody. I want to welcome Mr. Bruce Buffer back to the show. How's it going, Bruce?
It's going great, guys. Busy.
I appreciate you doing this. I know that you are one of the busiest men in the entire mixed martial arts community. Thank you for doing this. How are you enjoying Chicago?
Actually, I always love Chicago when I'm there, but I will not be there until Friday.
Oh, okay.
Oh, wow. You're going to be showing up right on.
Unless you're telling me the show's tonight and I'm not there, then I got a real problem.
Well, you are a man of many business endeavors. The first time I spoke with you, I was just so fascinated, Bruce. I don't know if the average person really knows how talented of a businessman you are. I was hoping you could just take a couple minutes and just tell all the listeners just all the different business endeavors that you have, because you're much more than just the veteran voice of the octagon.
Well, just as far as what's known, mostly I managed my brother's career, the legendary Michael Buffer, known for the great trademark Let's Get Ready to Rumble. He's very much still active and going all over the world, and it's a partnership we've had for over 25 years. And then, when you're in a position of that, I've got to manage both the brands and things that go on there, and, appearances, many different things we do. And then there's other business ventures, that we get involved in. And basically, it's like everybody in the position, you just don't have your current work, but you have the work and the streams of work, things that happen outside of the nucleus that you work from, which in his case is the boxing ring, in my case is the octagon. So you got to stay on top of things. You got to keep fresh with marketing and up with modern day times.
Yeah, and that's something that you've always been able to do, just stay one step ahead of the curve. Man, I want to wish you a happy belated birthday. On May 21st, you turned 61 years old, so happy birthday.
No, thanks very much. Yep, I got that, the big 6'1".
Wow.
But all good. It's all how you feel, and I feel great, and love what I do, and that's part of the thing. It's like I told you last time. You find out what you're passionate about, you pursue your passions, and if you can make some coin out of it, have a great time, and then you're living a lifestyle. You're not just going to work, and I hope everybody enjoys what they do for work. I really do.
Yeah, that's one thing that I took from you the first time we spoke, man, is, definitely the passion that you have for what you do is just truly remarkable, man. I wanted to get your opinion on, you are now a playable character in the UFC 3 video game. How does it make you feel?
I got a headache from getting punched so much, but outside of that, it's pretty good. No, you know what? It's when you're a kid, at least when I was a kid, to have a baseball card, to be a character in a video game, those are like dreams, and it's nice to be able to fulfill those things as you move along. And thanks to Topps, I got the one thing done with the baseball cards. Thanks to about 9 different UFC games, the 3 video games that I've had the pleasure of being involved in developing for Ready to Rumble Boxing. It's pretty unreal. Just to see yourself in that video game with the UFC video game being as cool as it is, and as great as it is, it's a great game. It's an honor. It's just really, really cool.
And of course, your website, brucebuffer.com, the podcast, It's Time. One of the coolest services you provide is you do this, with your world famous voice. You will do personalized introductions and greetings for people. And I just think that is one of the coolest things in the world, Bruce.
Thank you. I appreciate that. It's very cool for me, too, because I'm making people happy. The thank you notes that we get here are incredible, whether it's the championship introductions I have a special at brucebuffer.com, or, weddings, birthdays, any special occasion. They can send in the request through the website, and Kristen will get back to them with the information and fees. And it works out really well.
Now, Bruce, did you ever get TJ Dillashaw his special greeting for him? I know he really loves when you say all his nicknames.
Yeah, no, I did Cody Garbrandt's, and TJ I still have yet to do, but I will get it done for him. All they got to do is ask me, and they'll get it done.
Hey, real quick, Bruce, Michael Bisping just retired, and you've shared the octagon with, Bisping and every other fighter so many times. What's your favorite Michael Bisping moment?
Pretty much everyone. Michael Bisping makes every moment special in his own unique way, and he's such an amazing warrior, and, a very, very long, glorious career in the octagon. Michael's just a special person. He's going to go on to greatness in many other areas, especially in film. I really feel he'll do very well on that. And, he's got a lot ahead of him. I'm going to miss him, but I'm going to be happy watching how his career develops.
Yeah, he is a talented dude for sure. And before I let you go, man, I'd be remiss if we didn't talk a little bit about 225 here. On paper, Bruce, this is one of the best cards of the year, huh?
Yeah, I'm very excited about it. I'm going to be doing the fight cards today, which will get me more in the mood to what's going to happen on Saturday night. But, Yo Romero and Whitaker and all the other fights on the card, it's a great card. Anybody's going to be there is going to have a great time.
Yeah, I will be there. I can't wait. I truly think that you are the best in the business, and you're just always a pleasure to talk to. You are truly one of the most inspiring and positive and upbeat people that there is out there, and I truly encourage everybody, if they don't follow you on social media and they're not a fan, to get on board, because you are really an inspirational person, Bruce.
Thank you. I really appreciate the kind words. I just try to do the best I can on the path that I choose, and that's all I recommend to anybody else. Just be the best you can be, and that way you can be proud of what you do. And that's all you can do is do the best job you can.
Yeah, I've been listening to you a lot, and hearing your story and everything. My biggest curiosity: you're in the cage announcing some of the scariest dudes in the world. Who have you ever announced and you kind of looked at them and you go, "Wow"?
Well, there's been a lot of those. There's been a lot of those wow moments, but I will say the first time I ever introduced Mirko Krokop years ago. Just his face looking at me. I hadn't met him yet, and I usually get up close to the fighters. I never know what I'm going to do till I do it. But I kind of kept my distance from Mirko that one time. I wanted to, break the ice and get to know him a little bit before I, stepped up, because that's an honor for a fighter to allow me to enter his space, even within a few feet. And some people you just want to take your time and get to know. But Mirko turned out to be one of the coolest, biggest teddy bears fighting. But these are the toughest men and women in the world. But they're also many of the greatest men and women I've ever met in the world.
Well, that's for sure. But, they don't want to cross Bruce, because you are a second-degree black belt in Tang Soo Do, so you can hold your own.
I can hold my own, but I'm smart enough to know who I can hold my own with.
Good point, Bruce.
Good point.
Well, I appreciate your time, man. I know that you're super busy. Thank you so much for squeezing me in this morning. I truly appreciate it.
Yeah, it's my pleasure, guys. Keep up the great work. Have a great day. If you're at the show, make sure you say hi to me when you see me, okay?
Absolutely. Will do.
Thank you
Enjoy
so
your
much.
time in Chicago, Bruce.
All right. Take care, gentlemen. Have a great day. Thanks so much.
Thank you.
Too. Bye-bye. All right. There you go.
That dude is the most amazing person.
Just,
around, man.
He's so nice. He's so inspirational. You meet a lot of people that are full of shit, that come off a certain way. This guy, every single word that he says. He means it. He's truly a genuine guy. And what you said, it really is true. When he meets somebody, no matter if you're the president of the United States, if you're Donald Trump, if you're Mike Jones from Arkansas, he will give you the same amount of respect and remember what he talked to you about. And I don't know. He's really a remarkable person, Bruce Buffer. And again, Bruce, thanks for the time.
Thank you, man.
Guys, if you haven't gone to Bruce's website, check it out, brucebuffer.com. His podcast, It's Time, is a really good podcast, and he offers that amazing service where you can get voicemails, anything done in the veteran voice of the Octagon's voice. Come on.
Guess what my voicemail is going to be next week?
All right, man. So before we end this show, Apollo, UFC 225, PFL, it's a good time to be alive, man. What are you looking forward to most out of PFL and UFC 225?
Okay.
Doesn't matter what you think.
It's time.